We're back. Today, I wanted to hear a little bit more about you. You know, you are a founder of Abundance Chiropractic, and not only do you love chiropractic, but you love natural health and
in general, yeah.
all things.
And I hate this system.
In case you didn't know. It's hard to tell sometimes with you.
I know, right?
But I wanted to start way back, because a lot of times this stuff comes from when you're a kid.
Yep.
First of all, you did not grow up around here. We're in Florida. You did not grow up here.
No, not at all. I grew up in Puerto Rico, born and raised in San Juan, so the capital. Okay. My mom
in the city?
In the city, okay. Yeah. My mom had me at 19 years of age. My dad was 20 when they had me.
So they knew a lot by then, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, they made a lot of things. So I was born. They were obviously young. They were I wouldn't say health conscious, but my parents did take care of themselves. They were athletes. My mom was a swimmer. Okay. My dad played volleyball. Obviously, my sister, she was a runner. Mm-hmm. I don't do any of that. I didn't get.
Are you sure you belong?
I didn't get the athletic genes. I always tell people I'm more of a poet. Let's put it that way. So growing up, obviously everything went well, but I can think back as a kid, I was pretty sick. You know, I would go a lot to the allergists. I would get the shots. I was allergic to a lot of things. I remember growing up and having to take medications daily, one or two pills, just to deal with the allergies. And it would be allergies from food or from the environment, you name it. My mom tells me when I was like probably 1 or 2 years of age, I would get seizures from the fever. So pretty unhealthy growing up, I think.
Like, that's not just a little sniffle then. That's like,
no. What
other symptoms did you have? Like, so you like.
I would get a fever. It would go full blast, and then I would get
from the allergens
or from whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
And seizures as a kid. So, I mean, I talk to my mom about it now, and it almost sounded normal. Like they downplayed it, but looking back at it now, being in healthcare, I'm like, well, that definitely wasn't normal. So growing up, I was kind of sick. There wasn't I don't remember going to chiropractors growing up. Yeah. I remember one visit to a naturopath doctor.
Okay, so they kind of knew a little bit.
Yeah, they were trying to get into it. So I went to a naturopath. They told me about what to eat, what not to eat. But back then, the knowledge was basic. So it was like, just make sure you don't eat white bread, eat whole wheat bread or whatever, the brown one.
They still say that.
Yeah, they still say, yeah. Instead of doing regular pasta, do the brown pasta.
Whole wheat pasta.
Brown rice instead of white rice. So it was...
There's controversy about that.
Yeah, there's controversy. So now that I look back at it, I was like, that was the worst advice you could give my parents. But I did it for a little bit, didn't do much with it, unhealthy growing up. I remember going to McDonald's a lot.
I was going to say, tell me about what you ate, because, I mean... And I probably am incorrect, but some people might go, oh, you grew up in a different country. They cook more. But what kind of ingredients really are being used? Did you have some just innately good food there, or was it all packaged?
I would say my mom did cook. She doesn't pride herself of being a great cook, though. But she did cook, thankfully. But there was a lot of cereal in the morning. Okay. I remember growing up.
So prepackaged.
Prepackaged. A lot of white rice. That's Puerto Rico. We eat a lot of rice and beans, etc. But I remember,
beans.
It was we ate a lot of good stuff in general, but also a lot of bad stuff. So I remember, I mean, they were young, they were always on the go, working a lot. So I remember eating McDonald's a lot, and my grandparents would take me to McDonald's.
Same type of food as we have, like the McDonald's are similar here and there. Same.
So it wasn't very healthy. Obviously, I wasn't overweight or anything like that, but I did had a lot of the symptoms. I had asthma attacks since I was little, so I would have the albuterol pump, the inhalers. So a lot of the chronic health issues that most kids would have nowadays because of the food choices in general that they have. So asthma, allergies, seizures as well.
Which is a big deal.
Yeah, febrile seizures. Those were the main things as well. So a lot of medications. I would always have like a napkin or something just because sniffles all the time. So
you had the tissue in your sleeve?
Tissue, yeah. I remember
You're like the older woman with the tissue.
I remember in school, I had so bad allergies that I had a handkerchief.
Yeah.
Which is the dumbest thing. I don't even know why I had a handkerchief. But I had one. I was like blowing my nose, and I think a teacher made fun of it. Oh my God. And my mom went crazy about it. So it was so bad that even my mom, I remember 4th grade, we had like plugins in the wall. The teacher loved plugins and the smells, and it would destroy me. Like, they were terrible. So she would have to go to school multiple times to tell the teacher, you got to get rid of the plugins. Like, those plugins are literally destroying him. So there was always a fight about the environment, but there was never a conversation about, let's work internally, get your body stronger, so that it doesn't matter where you go or where you are, you don't have to worry about the environment.
Yeah.
So yeah, it wasn't a very healthy upbringing. My grandfather was a pharmacist, so there was a pill
for everything.
For everything, yeah. My other grandfather from my dad's side, he was a pharmaceutical rep.
So again, a pill for everything.
A pill for everything.
You got samples.
Yeah, I got samples, right? So you had the medications from both sides. My grandmother that was married to the pharmaceutical rep, man, she loved medical doctors. Growing up, I feel like she was always in the hospital. And at some point, I remember my dad joking.
Some people feel more comfortable there.
My dad used to joke about, it's like, I think she just goes there to socialize, to be honest.
She gets sick of me and goes to the hospital instead.
So she would go a lot of hospital. So growing up, the mindset was a very medicalized mindset. Sure. I wouldn't say we were very healthy in general. And looking back at it now, a lot of our family has passed away from chronic illness, either heart issues or cancer in general. So now looking back at it, there was a big issue.
Well, I mean, and then to bring it back to, kids today, you said something very interesting. You said, looking back, my mom talks about it like it's common, and just from your perspective as a doctor, as a chiropractor, and personal experience, what are some of the symptoms today that people just think are common for kids that you're looking at when they come in your office? You're like, this is not okay.
Yeah, the four A's: allergies, asthma, autism, ADHD. The 4 A's, I mean, it's just insane. I mean, my sister she's mentioned in the podcast before, but she grew up taking pills for Ritalin for ADHD. So we kind of had the 3 of them. We didn't have the autism part, which, who knows, probably we got tested for it. We'd probably be positive as well, right? Because
or if your mom had another kid.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, which brings an interesting point. So that's awesome, the 4 A's, like, not awesome that people have them, but awesome, like, I never thought about it to categorize it in that way, and it's so true. But it's interesting. Do you believe, and maybe you can, speak to this a little bit about, maybe each kid has a susceptibility?
Yep.
But it's still the same process in a sense. Like, tell me a little bit.
And there might have a genetic predisposition, right? We've talked about epigenetics before, where you have you can turn on or turn off genes, and certain things will express themselves. Right. I would guess that as a pregnant mom, you're gonna be going through different stressors in each pregnancy. Right. So I cannot talk obviously for my mom, but I could assume that being 19 years of age, there's a lot of stress involved. Number one, you're probably not
planned even.
Probably wasn't planned. No,
right.
They were so young. And then on top of that, probably the food choices. You're 19,
and you don't have money.
You don't have money, right? So I think the environmental factors of the food, the stressors, that played a part. So I think what mom is going through the pregnancy, and the other part is whether it's a medicalized birth or not. Yeah. I was born naturally. I don't recall if my mom had epidural or she had a Pitocin in general. I can't recall my sister either. I know my sister, when she was born, she couldn't breathe. So there was definitely a lack of oxygen in the birthing process. Yeah. But I think the environmental factors and the choices that mom makes definitely influence what happens to the baby.
Both pre and during pregnancy. Which is, I mean, I know you personally do take care of pregnant women,
moms, yeah.
And you probably even encourage people, if they're planning on getting pregnant,
you got to get ready. Yeah.
So come see you even
It's all about preparation, getting the body ready for it.
Yeah. But it's not too late, even if you do during the pregnancy, like even if you haven't before during the pregnancy.
Yeah, and the baby's constantly developing for 9 months. So, I mean, there's no point of being healthy for 8 months and then the last month you're like, I'm just going to go rogue. It's like, yeah, exactly. Because then all the work that you did, it's pretty much gone.
Right. And some people don't know this, but you actually, sometimes, I don't know if you still do, but you adjust brand new newborn babies, correct?
Actually, yesterday I saw a 3-week-old baby. Okay. Nice. Perfectly healthy. The pregnancy was excellent until the end. When mom went to deliver, unfortunately, the baby got stalled. It wouldn't just keep going down, so they end up doing a C-section. Again, the baby was still perfectly healthy, so we're seeing him for just maintenance, making sure that his spine is moving properly. And we noticed that he's able to breastfeed normally. However, he favors one side. So we knew there was something off with the neck. So we're working on it. So newborn babies.
What's the youngest you've ever seen?
I seen a few hours old. I think 2 hours old.
Wow.
Yeah, in a home birth.
And in a home birth.
That's pretty
awesome.
Cool.
I had we had back when we lived in another state, we had a chiropractor who his daughter, they were going to do home birth, ended up having to go to the hospital because of some complications, and when the baby came out, they were going to take it to the NICU, and he's like, hold on, give me a second, and he adjusted his child right there, and instantly the problems cleared up, and they didn't ever have to go to the NICU.
The best way to explain, because I've seen videos as well of other friends of mine that are chiropractors, I've seen babies that were born couldn't breathe, and the chiropractor went in, boom, 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 and the baby just pretty much came to life.
You have a benefit when you have kids one day.
Yeah.
You'll be like, I'm adjusting.
I'm ready to roll.
You're like, I'm ready.
Literally, I seen some crazy things. I think the best way to explain it is, baby comes out, they have these subluxations or misalignments or dysfunctions in the spine. It obviously affects the nervous system. So when you go in there and adjust a baby, which, by the way, people think we're going to crack their neck. No, we're literally putting our pinky in a specific spot. Yeah. It's actually the same pressure that we would use to test the rightness of a tomato or an avocado.
Right.
And as the joint moves, it almost frees up the nervous system and everything baby just boost starts. Yeah, baby response. Yeah. It's pretty cool, very crazy.
It begs the question, and you wonder, would your childhood have been different had you known?
Absolutely. I wish my mom would have known.
Yeah.
Not only about chiropractic in general, but about what truly means to be healthy.
Yeah.
I think they didn't know about it. And I know they didn't know about it. Because even chiropractic, my parents didn't know anything about chiropractic before I went to chiropractic school. It was just a traditional mindset, pill, surgery, go to the pediatrician. The pediatrician back then, he was like God, and the pediatrician was right here. It's like Jesus. Like, would you guys?
Was there a priest in there too, or
no,
just
that's pretty much the same? So when I look back at it, I was like, man, you guys put so much faith in this guy, and I was never truly healthy.
That's insane.
And I cannot blame them. It's just the information wasn't there.
It's funny you say that because people they put so much faith in a pediatrician or in a doctor, and even if they don't get better, they still have the same amount of faith, which is if in any other arena, like if you had I know you lift, if you were seeing somebody, a coach for that manner, and you didn't get stronger.
Yeah, I got to look for something else.
But that's not true.
No. My parents just kept going to the same guy until I was probably 16 or something like that.
It's just that belief in the system that you've been in.
And he's the guy.
Yeah, he's the guy.
He's the guy. And it was different back. I mean, I'm 33 right now, and probably was even more different back then. Mm-hmm. But the pediatrician had a very intimate relationship with the family. Yeah. Right? It's like it was
a friendship.
Yeah, usually they saw you when you were a year old and 2, and now they're 16. You've grown. You're still there. So you don't
remember when you were 1 year old.
So you kind of like put all your faith in this guy that's been there since you were born, essentially.